There was not much to track today. Plenty of partly to mostly sunny skies yielding to a quiet evening, but a mild Monday followed by a big winter comeback later on this week. Forecast coming up.
Plus, Pittsburgh residents are treated to a hunting and fishing show. We'll take you there. Also, while we're in Pittsburgh, we're going to pay a visit to the second annual four-state duel at the high school, and classes are the theme this weekend. We're going to take you to a candle making class in Oswego.
The four states' most watched news starts now.
As Nick mentioned, it was nice, but winter weather could be on the way, and that could mean snow and some bitterly cold temperatures. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Chris Moore. We're going to kick things off this evening with meteorologist Nick Kelly and a look at that forecast.
Thankfully, our weekend has come to an end, a quiet end all across the area, Chris. We still had quiet skies to get the evening going, but as far as the numbers officially go, we did hit a high of 53 this afternoon, a good rebound after we started at 26 degrees this morning. Looking at the Skywatch storage tracker, not much has shown throughout the course of the day. At times, we went from partly sunny to mostly sunny skies. We could have some additional clouds try to sneak in for some spots during the overnight, but not much to show on the immediate horizon. But our next storm system's really starting to brew across the upper northwest, Pacific Northwest to be exact. But as far as tonight's concerned, we'll just keep things quiet. We'll only drop back into the lower 30s by about the midnight hour, then hold there as we get your Monday morning drive underway. But a good south breeze, partly to mostly sunny skies throughout the day. We're going to be treated at least to a nice Monday with highs near 64, Chris. But this is going to be short-lived. Winter is staging a big comeback for the middle of the week. We'll break that down here in a bit.
All right, Nick, thank you. Albers Marine Annual Fishing and Hunting Show has returned to Pittsburgh. The show featured a number of events and exhibits, and some of those included boats, ATVs, tractors, and mowers, and there was even a kids' casting contest.
We had our 16th annual fishing and hunting show. We've had a great turnout. Yesterday was the busiest day I've seen, with just tons of exhibitors, fishing, hunting, taxidermy, all kinds of good stuff for people to see.
The event was held at the Memorial Auditorium and Convention Center. The Pittsburgh Wrestling Club hosted a youth tournament for all skill levels today. The tournament provides multiple divisions for both experienced and novice athletes. Those athletes ranged from kindergarten to 8th grade.
So this is our second annual four-state duels. We're trying to get teams from all four states here in our four-state area. We got teams from Oklahoma, Missouri, Kansas here. We didn't get an Arkansas representative this year, but we got 28 teams, about 300 kids here today.
And the tournament, again, was held at the high school. Black Crow Trading Company hosted a candle pouring event today. Participants had an opportunity to make their own candles. The idea came from one of the vendors at Black Crow who makes candles regularly as a way to bring the community together.
Just getting the community together. Like I said, having something to do, even on a Sunday when there's not a lot going on, brings us together. COVID kind of took a lot of those activities away from us, so this is something that we can just enjoy together.
Owen says as a small community, it's important to support their local businesses. Well, sunny skies and single-digit temperatures across the East Coast on Sunday, one day after 10 states were hit by their biggest snowstorm to date for this winter. Fox News correspondent Molly Line takes a look at cleanup efforts in Massachusetts.
The Northeast digging out from its biggest storm of 2022. The massive blizzard dumped snow from Virginia to Maine, but Massachusetts may have been hit the hardest.
This is probably the biggest snowstorm in Massachusetts we've seen.
People emerging from their homes to shovel out driveways and sidewalks, the state putting nearly 3,000 plow crews to work to help clear the streets, while the city of Boston extended its snow emergency through Monday morning.
I'm running out of room to put snow. There's just too much snow. I have no place to put it.
It ties the record set in 2003 for the largest single-day snowfall.
Power was knocked out to about 100,000 customers during the height of the storm. More than half of those have since had their lights turned back on. Other states did not see widespread outages. And while a nor'easter might be a cause for concern for some, many New Englanders took it in stride.
It's beautiful out here. It's easy to walk around. We're loving it out here. It's a winter wonderland.
When you move to Boston, I just moved to Boston. This is what you want for a winter.
Temperatures in the single digits and teens are not making cleanup any easier, but a warm-up is expected later on this week. In Plymouth, Massachusetts, Molly Line, Fox News.
We take this time now to honor one of our many four-state heroes. Edward Sarduk served in the Army during Korea. His hometown, Joplin. We're proud to recognize Edward Sarduk, tonight's four-state hero. And remember, you can learn more about other heroes, or better yet, nominate one of your own at any time by just going over to our website at KOAMNewsNow.com. Coming up, Apple is launching new ways of expressing pregnancy.
It was nice to have this weekend come to a close with temperatures still staying a bit above normal, even though we trended just a little bit cooler compared to what we saw the other day, where we had to start out actually in the lower 20s, but pushing into the mid and even upper 50s the other day. We did drop back into the upper 20s this morning, but still managed a respectable rebound to about the lower to middle 50s this afternoon. As far as what lies ahead, thankfully we're staying mild and dry, nice for our Monday. But then the bottom drops as soon as we get into Tuesday in the middle of the week. Not only will our next storm system bring in rain and wintry weather, but once we get behind that system, we're talking about another good Arctic blast that will be eager to roll in once we clear out the midweek storm system, at least the rain and the wintry weather chances. For the time being, though, we're still looking quiet for 7th and range line. No threatening weather this evening or on the horizon as we go throughout the course of the overnight. And it's these quiet skies again with a light north breeze that allowed us to drop back into mainly the mid to upper 20s across much of the region. Thankfully, temperatures were able to rebound across the region. Lower 50s in southwestern Missouri for the most part. Then you hit the mid 50s almost in downtown Joplin. Easily mid 50s for our corners of Kansas and Oklahoma. But temperatures have been quick to drop back into the 30s for many spots this evening so far. Thankfully, we're not going to drop off much more from here on out because we did have a northwest breeze during the day, very light at about 5, maybe 10 miles per hour. But look at what's happening now. It's the wind shifting around out of the east during the 8 o'clock hour, but more subtly as we go into later tonight and tomorrow because of a change in our weather setup. Nothing to easily see upon first impressions, but at the surface we got this frontal boundary that managed to park on top of the region. This lifts back to the north and east. This allows us to go back into the 60s for tomorrow. Then we got the main cold front building to our northwest, along with these upper level lows, especially the one coming out of Canada. That's the one with that trailing cold front that's going to really shake things up as we start going into Tuesday and certainly for the middle of the week. For the short term, though, again, maybe a little bit of passing cloud cover from the north at times. Otherwise, we'll just have temperatures hold steady, mainly lower 30s to start your Monday morning drive out. So it's a morning where you'll definitely want to bundle up as lows drop to 32. But then you can ditch the coast because we'll go to 58 by noon in the Joplin area tomorrow. 64 degrees for the actual afternoon high. In fact, everybody will go lower to almost mid 60s for Monday afternoon. We better savor that because here come the big changes on Tuesday as that front rolls in and these waves begin to get active. We'll have rain picking up as we go into Tuesday. Then the wintry part of the storm system rolls in. As temperatures drop throughout the day Wednesday, we'll see a mix of rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow throughout the day on Wednesday. Then the system wants to end precip-wise as snow chances on Thursday. Then we got to deal with the cold on the backside of this storm system. In fact, let me show you that on the 7-day forecast. 64 tomorrow, 55 is the best we can do Tuesday, 35 for the midnight high Wednesday. They're dropping through the 20s throughout the day, 20 on Thursday. We dry out for Friday, Chris, but starting at 3, topping out at 23, but at least we'll be back in the mid-30s Saturday and Sunday.
I am not looking forward to this. I mean, it's one of those things, it's going to be this cold. It might as well snow, but from what you and Doug have been saying, it could be an interesting one.
And speaking with Doug, I was talking with him. I think we can be able to start pinpointing amounts of what to expect as soon as we go into tomorrow. So we'll definitely continue to keep a close eye on this.
It's a good time to get that Skywatch weather app for sure.
Absolutely.
Make sure you're up on everything. Nick, thank you so much. Well, still ahead, backlash against Spotify continues as they suffer a major loss. Welcome back. Backlash against Spotify continues. Spotify has reportedly lost more than $2 billion in market value, thanks to a dispute with rock legend Neil Young. Streaming service was forced to take down Young's music after he demanded Spotify make a choice to either remove Joe Rogan's podcast will remove his catalog. Young says he believes Rogan is spreading misinformation about the COVID-19 pandemic and the effectiveness of vaccines. Since their dispute, singer Joni Mitchell has joined Young in requesting her music to be removed from Spotify. All right, this is a good one. Apple is launching new ways of expressing pregnancy in a new tech launch touching on modern gender identities and expressions. The computer and tech giant is including new emojis to express pregnancy happiness. The images will contain a pregnant man and a gender-neutral pregnant person. A non-binary image of a person wearing a crown will also be added. The expressions are part of Apple's new operating system beta test. Now, some culture critics say the inclusive emojis remove gender distinctives between men and women. Others are praising the company for being accepting to trans and non-binary people. The images come in 5 different skin tones. A major automaker is aiming at the moon and then Mars by building a multi-function surface vehicle. Toyota is developing a roving vehicle with the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency called the Lunar Cruiser, with a name similar to its Land Cruiser SUV. A launch date set for the late 2020s. Now, the vehicle would be a mobile work, eat, sleep, and communications platform. The Lunar Cruiser will also have a robotic arm used for inspection and maintenance. Toyota hopes the project will create future usable Earth technology as well. One of the nation's largest telecom companies is cutting the cord on employees against COVID policies. In a memo to staff on Friday, T-Mobile announced all corporate employees are required to get the COVID vaccine. Those who fail to do so by April 2nd will be fired. This according to an email from T-Mobile's Chief of Human Resources. Employees must receive their first dose by February 21st in order to prevent being first placed on unpaid leave. After that, those who fail to be fully vaccinated by the April deadline will have their employment terminated. It may be the first of its kind in the world, an NFT art museum. It's located in downtown Seattle. Fox photojournalist Taylor Murray has a look inside.
Hi, welcome.
We decided Seattle would be a great city to be able to open a permanent space to be able to showcase NFT art.
Yeah, so if you click on the link, it's for sale.
The first thing is to clarify what an NFT is. Basically, it's a certificate of ownership. And if you think about the value of owning any original art piece, there is a difference knowing that you own the original versus owning a forgery or a copy.
Sold already.
It's already sold.
So when you walk into the museum, you'll see that there's 3 platforms and 30 large format QLED 4K displays.
Really just being focused on making it something that is accessible, to the broader community, because that's a big part of what this museum is and what we hope it will be.
Would you guys put one of these up in your living room?
Things are tough for artists in the what we say IRL in real life right now, whereas the NFT medium has been blowing up for artists.
Also have spaces dedicated to showcase Seattle artists because we want to feature local talent here. And then you'll see some specific spaces showing featured artists from around the world. It really fulfills the purpose of the museum to help with education and inspiration and community building around this type of artwork.
This one's for sale, Mike, if you want it.
I think just continuing the conversation is what I want the museum to encourage, because it's still so early on in the evolution of NFT art.
Well, just ahead, Ireland remembers one of the worst conflicts between them and Great Britain on its 50th anniversary. One of the worst tragedies in the conflict between Great Britain and Ireland took place 50 years ago today. Now, today marks half a century since Bloody Sunday, one of the most significant events in the conflict known as the Troubles. In 1972, during a mostly peaceful protest, British soldiers shot and killed 14 people and injured another 15. Subsequent inquiries found all those killed were unarmed, with many being shot while fleeing or hiding from British forces. The massacre helped further stoke tensions between the Irish Republic forces and the British for another 26 years, until a peace agreement was brokered in 1998. Thousands flooded the streets of the Canadian capital to protest mandates for coronavirus vaccines. Marchers and truckers took to the streets of Ottawa to condemn the mandates set forth by Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. While the protests were peaceful, those demonstrating drew condemnation from Canadians for their actions, not in protesting, but in disregard and distaste for monuments. Protesters parked on the grounds of the National War Memorial and danced on Canada's Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, drawing rebukes from Canada's Chief of Defense Staff. Concerns among NATO nations are growing as thousands of Russian troops continue gathering along Ukraine's border. A Russian media outlet recently showed new fighter jets were deployed to the country's Calingrad region as tensions rise between Russia and NATO allies. On Saturday, military vehicles and Russian troops were also sent to an area on Belarus' southern border, which is just under 50 miles from the Ukrainian capital of Kiev. In addition to sending more troops and equipment to Belarus for joint training drills, the Russian military is holding drills in the Black Sea. And on that, U.S. and NATO allies remain on high alert as Russian troop buildup continues to increase along the Ukrainian border. Fox News correspondent Lucas Tomlinson has the story.
NATO might not be deploying forces to Ukraine, but it does have a large presence in the Mediterranean right now, where Russia has sent amphibious assault ships from its northern fleet. The Pentagon's top spokesman says that has the U.S. military's attention.
We've been nothing but clear and transparent about our concerns here at the Pentagon over this rapid buildup over the last few months around the border with Ukraine and in Belarus, not to mention, maritime activity by the Russians in the Mediterranean and the Atlantic.
The Atlantic is also home to fiber optic cables, vital communication between the U.S. and Europe. A little dead reckoning and U.S. intel assessments have these Russian warships heading to the Black Sea, a possible landing force for a Russian invasion or a decoy. The Russian warships will sail past the USS Harry Truman Carrier Strike Group, currently engaged in large-scale maneuvers in the Mediterranean. Back in 1994, Russia pledged to respect Ukraine's borders if it gave up its nuclear stockpile, which it did. Today, President Biden's ambassador to the United Nations warns the West not to be fooled again ahead of UN Security Council meetings Monday.
We're not going to be distracted by their propaganda, and we're going to be prepared to respond to any disinformation that they attempt to spread during this meeting.
Russia calls the Security Council meeting a PR stunt. As one of 5 permanent members, Moscow enjoys veto power, making it all but certain the body will take no action.
We're wrapping up this half hour of the News at 9 with a special fireworks show in Beijing. Fireworks brightened the sky over Beijing's National Stadium today. The display was part of the rehearsals that are being held for the opening ceremony of the Winter Olympics scheduled for Friday. A light snow fell as the run-throughs got underway. Chinese President Xi Jinping is scheduled to attend the opening ceremony, while foreign leaders, including Russian President Vladimir Putin, are expected to fly in for the start of the games. The United States, Canada, Britain, and Australia are not sending government officials to the games, but athletes from those countries will participate. National Stadium was nicknamed the Bird's Nest when designed in the run-up to the Beijing 2008 Summer Olympics because of its appearance. Well, we've got 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. First, a man from Kansas who threatened the life of the president is being held in Maryland awaiting trial. Plus, an update on Sunday after a multi-car crash left 9 dead in northern Las Vegas. Also, the Golden State can enforce its net neutrality laws aimed at internet providers, and a Pennsylvania court strikes down a mail-in voting law. Welcome back to the late edition of the News at 9. A man from Kansas who threatened the life of the president is being held in Maryland awaiting trial. The man, who has been identified, called the White House switchboard on Thursday, threatening President Biden. According to a telephone interview with Secret Service agents, the suspect claimed God told him to go to Washington and cut off the head of the serpent in the heart of the nation. Facebook posts from an account linked to the suspect saw him refer to President Biden as the Antichrist and saying the president will suffer a fatal head wound. Suspect is due in court on Monday. An update today after a multi-car crash left 9 dead in northern Las Vegas. According to Las Vegas police, the crash was caused by a driver who sped through a red light, crashing into multiple other vehicles. While it isn't known if the driver was impaired, Officer Alex Cuevas with the Las Vegas PD did say the driver was speeding well over the limit. The Golden State can enforce its net neutrality laws aimed at internet providers. A federal appeals court said Friday that California can continue its ban against internet providers who intentionally slow down or block access to websites and applications that don't pay for specific services and intentionally favor others using certain services or apps. Former California Governor Jerry Brown signed the law in 2018. Larger telecom companies opposed the regulation, saying it could hurt investment in broadband. Trump administration previously sued to block the law. A Pennsylvania court struck down a mail-in voting law, causing its opponents to cheer and its governor ready to appeal. The lower court said on Friday the 2-year-old no-excuse mail-in voting law violates Pennsylvania's state constitution. 3 Republican judges on the court voted down the law, with 2 Democrats dissenting. Pennsylvania's governor, Democrat Tom Wolf, quickly appealed to the state Supreme Court. The development could impact Pennsylvanians going to the polls this fall in midterm elections. 2.5 million Pennsylvanians voted by mail in 2020. President Biden plans to make history with his pick to replace Justice Breyer on the Supreme Court. Fox News correspondent Alexandria Hoff takes a look at some of the potential nominees.
With the news of Supreme Court Justice Stephen Breyer's pending retirement, all the talk in Washington is on who will replace him on the nation's highest court. President Biden has pledged to nominate a black woman, which would be a historic first and something he called, quote, long overdue. House Majority Whip Jim Clyburn pushed Biden to make the promise during his campaign.
It says to them, you've got just as much of a chance to benefit from the greatness of this country as everybody else.
I do see putting a black woman on the court, making the court more like America. In the history of our country, we've only had 5 women serve and 2 African-American men. So let's make the court more like America.
Some of the names being floated by the White House include D.C. Circuit Court Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, a former law clerk for Breyer. Leondra Kruger, one of the youngest justices ever appointed to the California Supreme Court, and U.S. District Court Judge J. Michelle Childs, reportedly a favorite of Clyburn's. Whoever the nominee is, Democrats are promising that she'll meet with lawmakers from both parties.
I'm reaching out to the Republicans and saying the nominee will be available for you to get to know them.
I suspect we'll all keep an open mind. We will review the nominee on her merits.
While bipartisan support would be a plus, Democrats do not need any Republican votes in order to confirm the nominee, if they can get all 50 Democrat senators on board. President Biden says he plans to announce his choice by the end of February. In Washington, Alexandria Hoff, Fox News.
Later on the news at 9, how horses are helping wildfire victims in Colorado after many lost everything.
It was nice that we wrapped up the weekend on a quiet note and temperatures again above normal. Now, granted, we did have a frontal boundary sneak across much of the region today, giving us just a little bit of a drop in the thermostat as far as Mother Nature is concerned. But still, when you go from upper 50s yesterday to the upper 20s this morning and lower to middle 50s this afternoon, that's still not a bad rebound to wrap up this weekend with. Thankfully, though, we've got one more nice mild day lined up before winter makes a big comeback as we work on throughout the rest of the week. For 7th Range Line, this has been the view all evening long. Quiet skies up top, mostly clear in general. And that's what allowed temperatures to go from the mid to upper 20s this morning right back into the 50s, even with a northerly breeze as a frontal boundary parked itself right on top of the region. We still had lower 50s and even mid 50s for parts of southwestern Missouri and predominantly mid 50s across our corners of Kansas and Oklahoma. But as far as this evening is concerned, we've already seen the numbers drop back into the 30s at the top of the 9 o'clock hour, but I don't think these numbers will drop off much more as we go throughout the rest of the night because that light north and northwest breeze at about 5 that we had during the day, look at how the wind is shifting around now, coming out of the southeast and eventually out of the south during the overnight and into tomorrow. That's going to really work in our favor as far as temperatures go. Partly because, as well, this setup at the surface undergoing a bit of a change. Here's the frontal boundary parked on top of the region. It's just back to the northeast. We go back onto the warm side of this whole storm system for tomorrow, but you see that cold front north and west of the region, and this upper low eager to work out of Vancouver and Western Canada. Both of those eager to start heading our way as we go into Tuesday in the middle of the week. That's the big winter comeback on the way in. Thankfully, it doesn't make its presence known for tonight. Once we hit the lower 30s by the midnight hour going into tomorrow morning, we'll just hold steady there as we keep that light south breeze in place at 5 to 10 miles per hour. So in general, let's have most areas, including Joplin, dropping back to about 32 degrees to start the morning out. Then we'll quickly go to 58 by noon with a south wind at 5 to 15, maybe an occasional gust near 20. But not only will Joplin top out at 64 degrees, with partly to mostly sunny skies tomorrow, everyone's fair game to go back into the lower to middle 60s. So the work week and school week doesn't look bad to start things off. However, let's take you to Tuesday. That cold front northwest starts working in. You can see how the rain chances start picking up on the top of the region as we go into Tuesday. Then as the colder air slams in, here's our mix of freezing rain, sleet, and snow that will overtake the region as we go through Wednesday. And this will end as snow chances as we go through Thursday. So the likelihood of this winter storm or this wintry event happening, that's continuing to increase. Speaking with Doug, it looks like we could have accumulating snow likely north of Interstate 44 and more of an ice situation south of the interstate. But both Doug and I will get a better handle of expected amounts as we go into tomorrow for sure. But there's certainly one thing we can count on the backside of this system. Look at how the jet sinks way to the south. That is a blast of Arctic air that will really make its presence known, especially by the time we hit Friday morning. So let's savor 64 degrees and quiet skies tomorrow. 55 Tuesday, dropping into the 20s on Wednesday, 20 on Thursday, starting at 3 Friday morning, topping out at 23. But we will be working back at least into the mid-30s Saturday and Sunday, Chris.
Those numbers kind of make me sad, Nick. I feel the Arctic would be better off if it just kept its air where it is. But
yeah, like I'm just focused on this winter storm potential working in. I'm excited to see at least some accumulating snow on the way.
I know, I totally get it, but I got kids, and if they've got to be out of school, that messes with my work schedule and everything else, and so I need them to stay in school.
But it's for the kids, though. We got to keep them happy.
That's true. That's true. Nick, thank you so much. Okay, coming up in sports, the Chiefs aim to make their third straight Super Bowl, and we're going to hear from Missouri Southern basketball following a week of wins. Danny Terzer's got it all next.
This is the Toyota Sunday Night Sports Feed. The Kansas City Chiefs appear in their fourth straight AFC Championship game this afternoon, hosting the Bengals. The Bengals beat the Chiefs in the regular season. This game here, there's a little more on the line. We'll pick it up with this crazy but not too surprising play by Patrick Mahomes in the second, escapes pressure, hits Travis Kelce for the 5-yard score, 14-3 Chiefs. And then Joe Burrow to Samaje Perine. He carries it 41 yards to the end zone for the Bengals' first touchdown of the game. Chiefs can't get anything before half, so it's 21-10 at the break. Now, third quarter, Mahomes picked off by B.J. Hill, and a few plays later, Cincinnati capitalizes. Burrow to Jamar Chase. They go for two to tie the game at 21. It's still tied after regulation. Chiefs with the ball to start overtime. Mahomes looking for Tyreek Hill deep down the field. Throws his second pick of the day. And Evan McPherson walks it off with a 31-yard field goal. Cincinnati shocks Kansas City 27-24 to win the AFC Championship.
We expect to be in that game and to win that game. And anything less than that is not success. And when you're playing a good team and you don't hit what's there and you try to get a little bit more than what's necessary, you kind of bite you in the butt, I guess you would say. I mean, it's something that we were playing so well in the first half. In the second half, we were just off a tick, and that's all it takes to lose a football game. But I mean, I got to be better. I mean, when you're up 21-3 at one point in the game, you can't lose it. And I put that on myself.
Rams hosting the 49ers in the NFC Championship, scoreless after one. Then Matthew Stafford fires to Cooper Kupp in the corner of the end zone. Later, Deebo Samuel makes the catch, goes the rest of the way. 44-yard score. It's 10-7 Niners at half. In the third, adding to their lead, George Kittle, 16-yard score, 17-7 San Francisco. A third and short here, back to Kupp. He finishes with 142 yards and 2 scores. Los Angeles hits 2 field goals to take a 20-17 lead. 49ers here looking at third and long. Pressure from Aaron Donald. But the Rams grab the interception. That seals the game. Rams snap a 6-game losing streak to the Niners, 2017, and LA is headed to the Super Bowl. A Super Bowl 56 is set. The Cincinnati Bengals make their first trip to the big game since 1989. The Bengals face the Rams, who get to play at their home stadium in Los Angeles. The Super Bowl is on February 13th at 5:30. The Missouri Southern men and women are on a roll as of late. Southern swept Northeastern State on Saturday. That was the 7th win in a row for the women. They're currently 11-3 in the MIAA, good for 3rd place. Against the Riverhawks, Lacey Stokes posted her 6th game of 20 or more points this season and added 7 assists. Caitlin Honeycutt and Lane Skiles also made some big contributions. It wasn't a perfect day for the Lions, but they made adjustments and got the job done.
I thought the first half they were the more energetic team, more effort team, getting to the loose balls, getting second chance opportunities, and I thought we did a much better job in the second half.
He was just telling us what we need to do, talking about rebounding, that's something I feel like we've really done well at these last few games, and we just couldn't find our, touch. We kind of, told everyone, everybody it's a team thing, and it's not just, our bigs.
The men beat Northeastern State 77-66. Stan Scott dropped his 3rd straight double-double. Christian Bundy and Avery Taggart also finished in double digits. And R.J. Smith played his first game back since injury in November. He received a standing ovation when he was first subbed in and then brought everyone back on their feet with that huge dunk right there before half.
It took a minute for me to realize what even happened, and then afterwards everybody's coming up screaming at me, and then that kind of just hyped me up. So then I was like, yeah, that was good. And that's something I will never forget.
I thought his energy, just his voice, and it was just uplifting for our team. Just, even in practice, just having him out on the floor, and his communication skills on the defensive end has been really big for us. And that's what at times we missed this year without him being out. And but that's one of the best things that he does for us. He just plays so hard.
Pitt State hosted the Wendy's PSU Invitational on Saturday. Missouri Southern competed as well, and both teams enjoyed a day of success. The Pitt State women won 4 events. Isabel Peters in the pole vault, Anna Childress in the triple jump, Christine Williams won the 200-meter dash, and the PSU women won the distance medley. For the men, LJ Kiner won the long jump, Bryce Grawn took first in the 3,000-meter run, and the men's distance medley team also won. Missouri Southern's Claire Llewellyn placed 2nd in the long jump. She posted an NCAA provisional qualifying distance, reaching 5.88 meters. That mark ties her career best and is the 3rd best in MSSU indoor history. Now Ryan Riddle won the mile, running it in 4 minutes, 1.59 seconds. Pretty fast. He set the facility and meet record and was a half second off his own school record. His time is good for 5th nationally this season. Josh Fulmer won the weight throw with an NCAA provisional qualifying distance, and Mason York won the pole vault. In the early morning hours here in the U.S., Rafael Nadal made history at the Australian Open. Nadal dropped the first 2 sets in the finals against Daniil Medvedev, but he came storming back to win it in 5. It's his 21st Grand Slam title, making him the most decorated men's single champion in history. We're back after this.
It was the most destructive fire in Colorado history. The Marshall Fire started December 30th. Many families in Boulder County lost everything, and one form of emotional therapy being offered to them is something known as horse therapy. Fox's Courtney Fromm has the story.
I'm not doing a whole lot. This is all you guys.
9-year-old Avery Hopper.
And hold her right there. And she's kind of slow, but she'll come with you.
Has had a tough few weeks dealing with normal kid stuff.
I've got braces, and that's just making it harder because I can't eat very much.
On top of that, Mom Allie knows how fresh the memory of the Marshall Fire still is for her daughters. That day, if you don't mind reliving it for me.
How do you feel about that?
It's okay.
Okay.
Their home, one of many that burned down in the Sagamore neighborhood.
It just all happened really fast, so we just had to really run from the house with nothing.
But today, the thought of rebuilding for many families who lost everything disappeared with each new horse stepping into the arena. From brushing,
He is really warm. He soaks up the sun, doesn't he?
to walking.
Somebody's leading a horse.
There's something magical about the nonverbal connection with these beautiful animals.
I don't know, it's just kind of regulating, like make me not think about other things.
Kind of a hard thing to describe.
Allison McCabe, a therapist here at Medicine Horse,
There you go.
knows these few moments, no matter how big or small the horse, they help people slow down.
They know how to be with people. And they get scratches, which they like too.
So kids like Avery and her little sister.
It was nice because, like, sometimes I can't stop thinking about, like, the bad things that have been happening.
And even her mom and dad.
Gosh, we're so grateful for the break from all the paperwork.
Have a resource to cope with the grief.
You know, all of the chaos in the world right now, it sort of feels like it's been paused for this area.
And begin writing forward from such an incredible loss.
Coming up, we're going to tell you about some high-tech nap pods being used at the Beijing Olympic Games Media Center. I think I have to ask you, have you ever been here during the day and felt like you just needed to take a nap?
A few times, yeah.
A few times? I tell you, I'm right there with you. And here's something that could help. High-tech nap pods are being used at the Beijing Olympic Games Media Center. The sleep rest cabins were developed by a Chinese tech corporation in hopes that these high-tech cabins can give journalists a much-needed break and power nap in between their coverage of the 2022 Winter Olympics. A quick scan of the cabin's QR code will open its doors, giving journalists privacy to relax and wind down. The Olympic Games will run February 4th through the 20th. That's what I am talking about. That is why we need a bigger newsroom. That's why we need a bigger studio so we can fit some nap pods in here. Because you guys know, I mean, think about it. It's long days for us. You always see us at certain times, but we're here a long time, and we could go for that nap. Speaking of, I think that's what we're going to do after we're done here. So that's our time for now. We'll see you back here next weekend. Thanks for making us part of your night.